Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on my channel, The World by Becca. Today it's slightly different. I am doing this video for The Wonderful World of Dance, which is a relatively new British dance magazine, which is a beautiful print. And as it so happens, I have just joined the team there. So I'm very excited about that and I'm very grateful for the opportunity. So my first contribution will be a 3-part series on auditions, as it is coming up to audition season and it is something that I have much knowledge of just through experience. Today I'm going to start with everything before you even apply for an audition. So I've got 5 pointers that I'm going to go through, things to look for or to prepare before you even apply to an audition. So number 1, I'm going to start with audition ads. So a lot of companies will put up ads on their website, but also a great way to look for dance auditions or ballet auditions are on websites specifically for that, or dance forums. There's a couple that are the main ones. So the main one in Europe would be Dance Europe magazine. They have a auditions and jobs page on their website. Great one to check. All the top companies will mostly post their audition on that page. The other great one is Dance Network. Now this is actually under construction right now. I had a little look last night and it's under construction. And funnily enough, the founder and creator of Network Dance was a dancer here at Semper, which he retired last season. And I didn't realise. I was sat at the same lunch table one day and we were talking about it. He was like, yeah, I built that. I was like, what? Literally been using it for years. So that was interesting. So it's under construction currently. I presume they'll have it up for the audition season, as that's, I think, predominantly what it's used for. However, I don't know that for certain. So those are 2, but however, I have my laptop here. If you just Google ballet auditions, super simple. The top one is the Dance Europe page. The second one is balletcompanies.com. Third, auditions.com. There's loads, Point Magazine, Dance Opportunities, balletauditions.org. There's loads on there. So those are a great way to look at multiple auditions. Obviously then you can go to a specific company's website if you're interested in a specific company. They will always put it on their own website as well. The second thing is, when you find these audition ads, what to actually look for and really to read it carefully. So they will generally specify requirements for that audition. So whether that's height restrictions, gender, maybe that season they're only hiring male dancers, experience, deadlines. Doesn't look great to send an application after the deadline. It doesn't show the greatest organisational skills or attention to detail, which just isn't great in our industry. So yeah, look at those things and really listen to them. They're there for a reason, because they are signifying what that director wants from that season. Don't waste your pennies flying to an audition that you could never be accepted for if you're a female and they're looking for males. Just daft. After that, I would then go directly to their website and research the company a little bit. Director, rep, choreographers, city. I mean, cities never even came as a consideration for me. I was just always going to go where the job was. However, might be interesting for you to look at city and country and do some research on that. Visas also, sometimes they'll specify if they can only have European dancers or require you to already have a visa. Just those sorts of things that they will always put on their ad. Now number 2 is photographs. Now this is quite a big topic and I've whittled it down to just a few things that I think are pretty key. I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do your hair and things like that. However, photographs need to be clean and professional. They do preferably need to be professional photographs by a photographer, not any Tom, Dick or Harry, but if you look on anyone graduating from the top schools and who their photographers are, they are generally a good reference. Yeah, they need to be clean and professional and realistic. No heavy editing, I wouldn't recommend. With regards to your outfit, just to show your best lines basically. So something clean and simple, nothing that's cutting you. So like a two-tone leotard might not be the best idea because it'll be cutting your line. Tights underneath the leotard, tights tucked into the shoes to elongate the line again. Point shoes always. And you can mattify or keep them satin depending on your preference. Mattifying them can elongate your line ever so slightly, well, by a foot. Again, also comes down to the requirements on an audition ad. They might specify how many photos they want, and sometimes they even specify what poses they would like. I go by the rule of 3 for nearly everything in an application. So I think sending 3 photos is a maximum and more than plenty for a director to see. They don't need like an Instagram feed of professional photos because they won't look at them, they haven't got time for that. So you will want a first arabesque on point, that's a classic, another flattering line for you, and perhaps a jump, and obviously a headshot. So those are what I would recommend for your photographs. I know professional shoots can be very expensive and not everyone has the means to that. If you cannot afford a professional shoot, then I would find the cleanest, whitest background, uncluttered that you possibly can, and do it on a relatively high quality camera or a good camera phone. Don't edit too much, no filters, just good daylight. That should be okay. Number 3 is video footage. Now, it is really no longer acceptable to send an application without video footage. Most companies are always asking for it. Obviously, if it says in the ad, we do not want video footage, do not send it. Don't annoy them before you've even got there. So video footage, if you're already a professional and you have some stage footage of a variation or something to that effect, that's great. Sometimes they can be filmed really far away, so the quality's not great. So in that instance, I would then recommend a good studio rehearsal video. So do your variation through with no one talking in the background and things like that, no warm-ups on. Also, I know that to get company footage can be more difficult with like copyright laws and things like this. So that's what I would recommend, is a good studio one. Again, maximum 3. You want to have 3 on hand. I would probably only send 2 or 3. One should be pretty classical, so a classical variation, maybe something more neoclassical if you have something, and then definitely a modern one nowadays. I've actually been rejected for companies before when I haven't had a modern video. I did wrangle my way into one by saying what I was rehearsing at the time, but that won't always work. So a modern one, if you haven't done a modern variation on stage or haven't worked on anything, you have YouTube because you're watching it. Find a variation, work on it, practice it, film it. There is no excuse. So that's what I would recommend. What I did with my video footage is I uploaded it to my YouTube channel, not this one, a more private one, and I uploaded them as unlisted videos. So that means that only people with the actual link to that video, so for example, it would be www.youtube.com/36cdf9z. So it won't be found by any Tom, Dick or Harry, but it means that it's a great format and easy for a director to just click the link and it'll take them straight to the website. No loggings, no anything like that. So that's what I did. So the next one is the CV. The CV. Where to start? So I actually have here my most recent CV, I believe. I haven't updated it in probably about a season. So here is my CV. If I hold that for a second, you should be able to see it. That is it, just in like a rough editing format. I've done this one on Pages on my iPad, which is the free Apple one. They also have a Word document thing, so it doesn't need to, you don't need to buy a subscription to something just to make a CV. They've got plenty of templates on there that are very clean and professional, and that is key for a CV, clean and professional. I mean, anything on an audition application, basically, just easy to read, not uncluttered, that sort of thing. I would recommend you to save your CV in a PDF format. That means that it cannot be edited once it's been sent out, it cannot be changed, and it's just easier for a director to open a PDF document. You can actually add in your CV, your 3 portfolio photos and your headshot, and then it's all there under one roof. They haven't got to close this, link that, click another one, open it. It's just all there in one, very easy. They're just much more likely to see the whole thing if they don't have to do more work to see it. Basic structure of a CV, I would go name and then address details and personal details, so height, weight, nationality, date of birth, that sort of thing. Then you could put a small paragraph of you, not quite a cover letter, but a little introduction. Then the rest of it needs to be predominantly bullet point. It's not a short novel, don't ramble. Predominantly a bullet point format, well, that's what I have anyway. So at the top I've got employment, then repertoire, education, and then references. Your CV should be in chronological order, so most recent first. So you've got employment, then, so for example me, I would have SemperOper Ballet 2017 to present day. Underneath that would then be Romanian National Ballet. The same with your repertoire and your roles, education, most recent, and most relevant. That is one thing to remember, most relevant. No one cares what you got for your grade 2 RAD. Yeah. Yes, education references. If you are not a professional already and you don't have that much experience, I would put education at the top, then any experience you do have, anything you might have done on stage. Then I would go to any competitions you may have done. I didn't actually do anything worth putting on there, so I don't have that section. However, if there's an achievement that you think is worthy of being in there, or one of the top competitions, for example, then pop that on there just to pad it out a bit. Under my education, I do have my higher education qualifications, so my diploma, etc. Other than that, no one needs to know what grades you got for each GCSE. References. Even if they don't ask for one, I would always recommend to put 1 or 2 references on your CV. It just shows that you have them and they are there for them if they wish. Do always inform your references that you have put their contact details on your CV prior to doing so, because sometimes they are used and they should probably know that they're going to be contacted to buff you up a bit. For the contact details at the top, always put your email on your CV. Don't assume that because you've emailed it to them they have your email. Sometimes this is printed separate from everything else and they just need it quickly and it's there. Mobile phone number, as well as the country code, like the area code, so +44 UK, +49 Germany, whatever yours is. I do have my address on there. That was my UK address because I didn't have an address at that point. Date of birth, nationality, so that they know for visas, whatnot. Height and weight, I would always put it in imperial and metric, so that is understandable for a director from any country, you know, States versus Europe. If they're in Europe, they might be from the States, that sort of thing. So height, I would put in centimeters and in feet and inches. And weight, I would put in kilos and then stones and pounds. Do not lie. Do not lie on your CV. It's just not a good idea. People lie about their repertoire, which I think is really risky, weight. Height is a very cliche one. I've even done that. I'm quite tall, so fudge that down a little bit, but it is counterproductive when you arrive and they're like, oh, you're too tall. Well, that's your own fault. As a lot of times you'll get there and they'll say that and you were within the height limit, which is just as, like, even more annoying because that's them misleading you. However, that one can't be helped. So do not lie on your CV. It takes 2 seconds. If you've lied about your repertoire, said you danced one of the Balanchine ballets, it takes 2 seconds for a director to text their friend who, oh yes, works for the Balanchine Trust. Turns out you didn't dance that role. It doesn't look good. You've lost the job before you've even got there. So do not lie. With regards to weight, I have been put on the scales previously at auditions. They do check sometimes. I have had an equation done in the director's office of my height subtract my weight divided by something to amount to my ideal weight. All sorts of rubbish like that. Yeah, so they do check, and if they put you on a scale, you probably won't get away with saying that you just had a really big breakfast. Although, if you try it, let me know. Yes, so don't lie. Let's be honest about everything. Your CV should fit on one page. No, fit your CV on one page. If it whittles onto a second page, not only is it too long, they most likely won't actually see the rest of it because they would expect it to be on one page. I do also put my headshot next to my contact information at the top of my CV, as you saw before, in a little like passport photo size, mostly because directors do tend to print these and take them into the studio or have them on the panel in the studio. So it's just easier for them if your headshot's right next to your repertoire and then they can spot you rather than looking at your name, finding your number, blah, blah, blah. So I put my headshot on there. So that's everything I have for CVs. The final thing I want to talk about is social media. Now, this may sound like a weird one. However, nowadays it is not uncommon for your social media to be checked when looking for a job. And I know the ballet world is a little behind, but they are doing this now. So back when I auditioned, it wasn't even really a thing, but a couple of years ago when I was re-auditioning as a professional, it was already a thing that your social medias might be checked. They don't tell you that, obviously. Well, so if a director can easily find your Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, they will look at it. Not all of them, but some of them are doing this now. So I think it's something that we should really be wary of. I'm very aware of what I do put on social media, and I think everyone should be aware of what they're putting on there. You want to think about what your social media platforms are saying about you to someone who doesn't know you. So it doesn't need to show your most professional self. It doesn't need to show, you know, every post being you're in the studio working. However, I am personally wary of what I do put on there. If you don't feel it represents a you that would give the right vibe to a director, if you looked at it, then I would suggest probably making it private for the audition process, at least till you're out of March, February. That's just a recommendation I would have. If your platforms are already private, I would periodically check that everything is private on there, because with updates and algorithm changes, things can change to make them public without quite you knowing about it. So it's something that I would definitely check. It's something I do very periodically for anything that is private. Yeah, so directors check. When I was at the grand audition, the first one they did, so it's a few years ago now, 3. David Macatelli was talking to us all about our portfolio photos, and he was trying to say, well, he was saying how a beach shot in a bikini in an arabesque is not an appropriate picture to send as your professional portfolio picture. And it is not. Do not do that. Not a beach shot. Nothing that's not either in a clean studio or on a professional white backdrop. Not appropriate. And he was saying that he actually had to go on people's Facebook accounts to find legitimate photos of them so that he could see something that he could actually judge them on, rather than their holiday shop from Greece. So that's everything. I just wanted to touch on social media a little bit, because it's not something we would naturally think about as a dancer. With it, you know, would it overlap with our application? However, I think it is something that we do need to be more wary of nowadays, as it's such a big presence and it's somewhere that people are so active. That's what I would recommend. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm thrilled to be working with Wonderful World of Dance. If you have any ideas for any other mini-series or videos you would like me to do with them, then do let me know, either in the comments below or via my social media platforms. The next episode is going to be about the email, the correspondence, and then booking your audition. So it's everything just before the audition now. So if you ever have any specific questions with regards to any of those topics, pop them in the comments below and I shall include them in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day and great success with your auditions. Bye.